Welcome to our 5 on 5. Please welcome back Senator Ron Wyden. Senator, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks for taking the time. 16 states now suing, including Oregon, suing over the president's emergency declaration to build a border wall. Setting aside the politics, you know the law. Do these states have a case?
I certainly think so. And, you know, the reality is the founding fathers were very clear, and that is Congress is in charge of appropriations, not the president. And the tragedy, of course, is that this is really all built on a fable. The wall is built on the idea that the president repeatedly said at rallies that the Mexicans were going to pay for the wall. Well, clearly they aren't, and what we ought to be doing is on a bipartisan basis say we need border security, and that means fencing, and it means drones, and it means radar, and it means people and technology, but it doesn't mean approaches like the wall, which aren't effective.
CNN reported earlier today that Robert Mueller's Russia investigation may end as soon as next week. Attorney General William Barr will then decide how much of it to share with Congress and how much to share with the public. How much do you think will be released?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to speculate on when it's going to end, and certainly Bob Mueller has been indicting people right and left. I have been very clear, I've announced this publicly, if there is any effort to derail making the Mueller report public, I'm going to go to the floor of the United States Senate, and I'm going to stand there and fight until it does get out.
You introduced S-420, the Marijuana Revenue and Regulation Act, that would, according to you, responsibly legalize, tax, and regulate marijuana at the federal level. Do you have enough Republican support to get something like this passed in the Senate?
What's happening is so many states, and Oregon and California are just an example, are moving on their own. I think we're quickly getting to the place where people are going to say there's just a patchwork out there of all these different states. We ought to look at a bill like mine that's federal. So I think it's just a matter of time.
What about the Green New Deal? It sets out some ambitious goals. Does it have a chance of getting Republican support in the Senate and getting the president's signature?
The Green New Deal is aspirational. It's about hopes. It's about trying to reflect the urgency that we've got to kick the carbon habit. It's not a piece of legislation. Now, in the Finance Committee, one of the areas I'm looking at is trying to take the 40 separate tax breaks for energy and, in effect, because they're really dirty energy tax relics, I'd like to kick them in the garbage can and substitute one for clean energy, one for clean transportation fuel, and one for energy efficiency. And I'm telling the Republicans, let's cut the subsidies and let's see if we can find a way to get more green with less green from our wallets.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll have much more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Senator Ron Wyden. Senator, we understand that you're going to be receiving the Gordon and Sharon Smith Award given out by the National Alliance of Mental Illness, the Oregon chapter, for all your efforts in battling mental illness. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
What can the average Oregon citizen do to help Oregon issues with mental health and the drug addicted?
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to my friends, the Smiths, and this is another bond. Their family, of course, was affected by tragedy. My brother was a schizophrenic for years on end. Every night we were out there worried he was going to hurt himself or somebody else, and I think all of us have got to do more. Clearly, there's work to be done on the government side. The insurance companies are supposed to have parity between physical health and mental health. I don't think they're doing it, so I'm going to be coming after that. Medicaid pays for much of the mental health needs of low-income people. I'm going to be protecting that. And I think clearly on a local level, schools need to do more to step up and try to work with youngsters and families with their mental health challenges.
You asked the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, to adopt a new 3-digit phone number for those people needing mental health or suicide support. Where does that stand today?
Right now it's in front of the Federal Communications Commission. I'm pushing it very hard. Look, 911 is a very useful service, but I think in a lot of places 911 often means somebody's called to make sure that some neighbor's cat is brought out of the tree. What we want to do is have a specialized, targeted service where there are people on the other end of the line who are savvy and knowledgeable about mental health challenges. That's what I'm pushing for. And our very own Lines for Life in Oregon has a terrific program that could be a model for young people.
Do you support the resolution put forth by Jackson County Board of Commissioners to revise the Forest Service and BLM policy, allowing naturally ignited fires to burn and permit the use of prescribed burns on federal lands during fire season, to a policy of full suppression of any fire on public lands during a state-declared fire season?
I think there is a challenge here to try to figure out a way to look at fresh approaches without trying to micromanage the Forest Service. Obviously, the question of trying to find a way to burn selectively during the colder months is something where I think there's a fair amount of science, but I don't want to just kind of take a cookie cutter policy and micromanage the Forest Service.
Senator Merkley is toying with a presidential run. Would you vote for him?
I can tell you that I'm going to be the only person who might be in the United States Senate who's not running for president. I guess I'm sort of partial because Senator Merkley is doing a really good job at the Appropriations Committee. We need somebody on the Appropriations Committee. And I like to think I'm a pretty good complement at the Finance Committee. So I think for Oregon, it's pretty good to have both of us in those jobs. But he is a very talented public servant.
Thanks for taking the time. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.